Hi there, boys and girls and family pets that accidentally hit the spacebar. I'll be your Captain Pool this evening as we traverse the kinky underballs of Fallout's hottest creatures. Remember, if you like this video, to tap that like button. Likes are like this weird form of currency. They make me feel warm inside, like hot cocoa on Christmas or a blanket fresh from the dryer, or that sensation of having your butthole over one of those hot tub jets. You know, just warm, wholesome, fuzzy feelings all around. All right, now everybody fasten your seatbelts, put your tray tables in their upright positions, and remember, it's not polite to accidentally poke someone with your boner. Because we're about to get to Average Bait. Here we have the RADSCORPION. Now, there are 6 types of giant scorpions in Fallout, maybe more, all of which can be found in the deepest, darkest corners of my nightmares. Scorpions are closely related to other bugs, usually big gross ones with wet, crusty faces. Like other gigantic insects, the RADSCORPIONs are capable of incredible feats of strength. They can lift many times their body weight, move heavy boxes without wheezing and gasping for air, and they can crush pop cans with ease. They've got big claws, too many eyes, and a big old poison butt trunk for stinging faces. Now, if you encounter this creature in the wild, under no circumstances should you try to suck on one of its eyeballs. It will freak out and get extremely aggressive. I should know. That's how my Uncle Petey got pregnant. Or that's what he kept screaming as they dragged him off to a home. Who fucking knows what happened to him? The RADSCORPION is basically a scorpion that got supercharged with the FEV virus. It's a juiced up junkie with a super bad attitude. And yet my bathroom mirror gets all steamed up when I think about it. The RADSCORPION is also known by its scientific name, Scarus pupus autobibuttus. Now, the RADSCORPION prefers warm climates and dark crevices, mainly because they're fuck ugly. They also burrow underground as a defense mechanism and then pop up somewhere else, just like those fat worms that tried to eat Kevin Bacon. Yeah. They're just an all-around fucking nightmare here in Fallout 4, and I can't get enough of them. Here we have the GULPER. Now, the GULPER's top speed is 42 kilometers per hour. This was discovered by a very frightened teenager whose motorized scooter could only reach 41 kilometers per hour. GULPERs sometimes go by other names like Mud Puppy, Water Dog, Spring Lizard, or Big Eddie. Like, oh my god, look at that Big Eddie over there. You know, typical nameology, really. Now, the word GULPER comes from the Greek word gulp, which means to suck loudly, which some believe is the only way. Now, if you encounter a GULPER in the wild, it's important to remain calm. Start up a dialogue with the big weirdo. Convince it that eating you won't fill the hole that was made in its life when its dad left for a carton of cigarettes and never came back. If that doesn't work, you can always try extreme violence. I find that to be my sweet spot. The GULPER, named after what it will do on the first date. It'll gulp on your no-no spots. Translation, it puts out. The GULPER is really insecure because it looks like a giant ugly salamander with pillowy lips. Now, these mud puppies got some secrets behind those giant Steve Buscemi's, and those secrets lead to insecurity, and that insecurity leads the GULPER to being a real skank in the bedroom. It'll lick your chota for half a Jolly Rancher, if you know what I mean. The GULPER has a way of always looking like it lost a contact lens on the ground, which is kind of weird. Now, despite looking like it doesn't know what the fuck is going on half the time, the GULPER can be really dangerous in the wild, especially if you cover your entire body in chocolate sauce and punch it repeatedly in the tip of its penis. Or so I'm told. I wouldn't know anything about that. Here we have the mole miner. Now, if you ever cross paths with a mole miner, it's important not to look directly at it, as they might view that as a threat. It's also important not to avoid looking at it, as they might get the impression you think you're better than them. Just try to blink uncontrollably and roll your eyes around like a lunatic, just like when I'm trying to get out of jury duty. Also, if you're really trying to get out of jury duty, you can always ask them where is a good place to tie up your pet rock, or if they can tell the difference between normal Kool-Aid or poison Kool-Aid just by looking at it. Mole miners might look weird and creepy, but that's because they are. They're that weirdo that goes to parties and stays in a stranger's bathroom sniffing their towels and rubbing hand sanitizer on their nipples. Now, you might think this vertically challenged asthma attack waiting to happen wouldn't be much of a threat, but think again. Just because this thing's only match on Match.com is a catfishing trucker named Sweaty Balls Barry doesn't mean it's not a real villain. This cosmetically retarded giant gopher person can really throw hands if you back it into a corner or try to make prolonged eye contact. Now, the legend has it if the mole miner pokes its head out of its dark underground lair and sees its shadow, then there will be 3 more weeks of late-night phone calls that only consist of heavy breathing and an overwhelming feeling that you're being admired from a distance. Now, this guy's got creepy stalker weirdo written all over his ominous breathing apparatus. He just milks the tits of precautionary restraining order, doesn't he? Now, I bet if you bought him a Snickers bar, he'd have a whole chapter dedicated to you in his diary to compliment his photo collage and locket of hair that he obtained while you slept. He just gives me the heebie-jeebies, so I'm as surprised as you are to find out that that really gives me a boner. Here we have the Grafton Monster. Now, the Grafton Monster, known most notably for fighting the Ghostbusters after Sigourney Weaver got all horny for the Keymaster, is seen here just putting it all out there. Most people think marshmallows are pacifists because they're all soft and pillowy, but turns out they're mean as fuck. See, this is why you should never meet your heroes. I always find it's better to watch them from afar, in the bushes, with some binocs. The Grafton Monster is a giant white monster. It doesn't appear to have a face, but that doesn't stop it from laughing its way to the top of the socioeconomic food chain. Like most white monsters, it's able to flourish because it's not bogged down with racial injustice. It's super white. It looks like it fell in a giant vat of Colgate Total and really left an impression on 4 out of 5 dentists. The Grafton is so white that it can't be physically pulled over by police. Now, the Grafton Monster was the first mythological creature I ever let inside of me. 2 fingers and a thumb. Think about it. Now, the Grafton Monster prefers to lurk in the shadows, just like Bigfoot, only popping out to pose for out-of-focus photographers. The Grafton Monster is what happens when you piss off a marshmallow on steroids. Now, it doesn't seem to have any discernible features, which makes it great for role-playing as a giant angry pillow. The Grafton Monster is known for being a big angry fuck. The Grafton Monster is a mythological creature based on West Virginian folklore. The story goes that a reporter saw this disfigured snowman just skulking about by the river. He then went into town and told everyone about it, and they did what any logical town would do with that sort of information. They gathered up all their weapons and went out trying to hunt or capture this possible super dangerous creature with like sporks and spoons and shit. Needless to say, they didn't find him because he isn't real, just like Santa's elves, Harry Potter, or Daniel Radcliffe. And here we have Trashcan Carla. Now, I try to only date women who've been named after waste disposal systems. You know, you've got Trashcan Carla, Dirty Diaper Delilah, Toilet Seat Susan, Garbage Bag Betty, Outhouse Hillary, Urinal Cake Kathy, and my absolute favorite, Soggy Dumpster Donna. Yeah, Trashcan Carla might be a homeless merchant that smells like feta cheese dipped in ass, but boy, is she a good listener. Now, it's hard to believe that in just 3 short years, she went from blowing MIRELURKs to selling garbage to real people. Now, she's a real inspiration to all those little skanks out there. Now, most people don't know this, but Trashcan Carla had a twin who she stabbed in utero. Where she got the knife still remains a mystery to this very day. Now, the great thing about Carla is that she gives all the other merchants in the Commonwealth a rock bottom by which to compare themselves. And that there is a beautiful thing. Now, Trashcan Carla is also a chain smoker. And let's face it, there's nothing more attractive than a dirty front bum that reeks of nicotine. Oh my god! Christmas came early this year. Here we have the frog, or toad, or whatever the fuck this thing is. You know how in fairy tales when the princess kisses the frog and they turn into a prince, and they both live happily ever after with a cool story to tell their grandkids? Well, in reality, if you kiss frogs, then you're just a creepy weirdo that they don't let feed the ducks at the park. Besides, most frogs are slimy, big-eyed, jumpy freaks. Except for this frog. This one in particular has got a great personality and loves to cuddle. Frogs are amphibious creatures, which I believe means they're able to read minds. Now, the male frog can be distinguished from the female frog by a small swelling that appears on one of its toes during mating season. That, or by its big old floppy penis. Now, frogs tend to breed in the spring, and their mating takes place in shallow pools of water. Basically, they like to fuck in puddles. But who doesn't, am I right? Yeah. Now, you would think that big frogs wouldn't be that upsetting in the post-apocalypse. Well, think again. Because they are. They're super upsetting. Look at them. They're all big and slimy and gross as fuck. But man, they make me feel things, you know? Weird, I'm not sure I'm comfortable admitting them on the internet kind of things, you know? Here we have the MIRELURK Queen. Now the MIRELURK Queen has type 3 diabetes. She was the very first one to get it. Apparently, it's a very rare form of diabetes that only affects really gross sea royalty. The MIRELURK Queen reaches her age of sexual maturity during the winter solstice, when the nights are at their darkest and the eligible bachelors are at their drunkest. You know, real fairy tale prerequisites. The MIRELURK Queen is a crustacean, similar to a really ugly crab or a piece of sea barnacle that makes you throw up in your mouth when you look right at it. Now the Lurk Queen can usually be found skulking about under some sea garbage somewhere, or catfishing some unlucky pervert on a cheap dating app. Now experts say if you're ever attacked by a MIRELURK Queen, just ask her to borrow some money, and she'll vanish into fat air. The MIRELURK Queen hunts by hiding in a dark hole or beneath some sea garbage in the water. Then she pops out and snatches her prey, while at the same time remaining hidden from her natural predators. But what could scare this big mama, you're likely wondering, because she's so big? Well, MIRELURK Queens are afraid of meteorites, nuclear warheads, and tiny spiders because they're icky. The MIRELURK Queen looks super aggressive because she is. If you approach her, talk to her, or even wave your penis at her from a distance, she will get extremely aggressive. The MIRELURK Queen seen here, putting it all out there for her Tinder profile pic. Now, I'm not saying she's a slut, but this photo sure does make my dick hard. The MIRELURK Queen is the leader of all sloppy crustaceans. As royalty, she waves to tourists, hoards priceless jewels, and shits out little babies to fight for her when she feels threatened. You know, typical royalty stuff. She's really the belle of the ball in the looks department too. She's got slime and gunk just dripping off her, and she's got this weird, gooey eye for a face. She also has a bunch of extra arms that always look like they're hacking into an imaginary supercomputer. Let's just say she's a keeper. It's too bad she's taken. It really is too bad. Here we have the MIRELURK King. As you'll notice from his tiny frame and soy boy status, he doesn't wear the pants in his relationship with the MIRELURK Queen. She's humongous, and he's second string on the swim team. I'm not calling her fat, I'm just saying it's unlikely she shares the mashed potatoes during dinner. The MIRELURK King is malnourished and unable to make financial decisions without his wife's signature. He's hit rock bottom and it shows. Now this MIRELURK is in an abusive relationship with the MIRELURK Queen. Whenever they go out to a restaurant to eat, she'll order a 6-pound steak and order him the salad. Then she'll eat his salad while maintaining eye contact the whole time. The National Wildlife Association classified the MIRELURK King as an endangered species after taking just one look at the MIRELURK Queen. The MIRELURK King is a soy boy beta cuck who cries in the bathtub because his wife picks him up by the nipples and his kids won't look him in the eyes anymore during dinner. Now this MIRELURK's favorite food is anything that the MIRELURK Queen hasn't already eaten. Seriously, he's incredibly malnourished because she doesn't share during mealtime, which based on her type 3 diabetes, would be pretty much all the time. Now the MIRELURK King's natural predator in the wild is the MIRELURK Queen when she hasn't eaten for a few hours. Or when she's had too many white wine spritzers at brunch. That's right, kids. She'll just eat him if he's not careful. You imagine that? The MIRELURK Queen just lying next to you the whole time, hungry as fuck with that heavy breathing. Just thinking, you know, maybe you're next. The MIRELURK King is one of the heaviest mutated manfish known in the post-apocalypse. It can weigh up to 400 pounds, which is as heavy as a really fat person. MIRELURK Kings are sometimes referred to as disgusting man lizards or gross water goblins. Now, most people don't know this about MIRELURK Kings, but they grow larger through a process called growing, where their bodies just get bigger over time. Yeah. Now, MIRELURK Kings are closely related to sea garbage, in that they look like weird ocean turds and smell like a bag of dicks. Fun fact about MIRELURK Kings, they actually can't swim. It's why they're always skulking about in shallow water. If they can't touch bottom, they'll start freaking out, screaming and splashing frantically until they pass out and drown. That's right, folks. They suck as sea creatures, but boy, do they fill the gap in my panties. Here we have centaurs. Centaurs are what happens when D students try to play God. Now, some people wonder, why are centaurs so aggressive? Well, they're ornery because they have disproportionate medulla oblongatas. That, or because they have a human hand coming out of their butthole. If it was me, I'd be more upset about the second one. Centaurs do not migrate during the summer or the winter. They sort of stay in one place because they're lazy as fuck. The centaur's habitat depends on what kind of centaur it is. Is it to pop out of some bushes kind of gooey-like freak? Or maybe it's to tickle your feet at the end of your bed kind of grotesque pervert creature. Sky's the limit here with these lab accidents come to life. Now this is what happens when you ask a mad scientist what they'll do for a Klondike bar. A myth about centaurs is that they can smell your fear. This isn't true unless you shit yourself. If you shit yourself, it's a pretty big sign that maybe you're in a vulnerable state right now. At the very least, your day's not going how you planned it. The Centaur's got everything you could want out of a disfigured blob of assorted freaks. It's got a bunch of hands, fingers, toes, multiple heads, a weird girthy body tail, and multiple tongues to really ramp things up in the bedroom. Oh yeah, look at those tongues. Yes. I'll take another. Now, Centaurs remind me of John Carpenter's The Thing because their features lack all discernible efficiency and they're super gross. Kinda looks like a plastic creature that got all melted and shit on a really hot day. Now that, kids, is why you shouldn't leave things out in the smoldering heat on a midsummer afternoon, because it will get all sweaty and melted. Centaurs are also known by their scientific name. Oh my god! What is that thing? This thing's like a bad children's drawing come to life. It makes no sense, yet I want to mount it on my refrigerator with magnets. What's that all about? Thanks again for watching, folks. Hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, be sure to bitch slap that subscribe button like it's 3 weeks behind on your rent. Bitch! Where's the money, bitch? Where's the money? Where is it? Also, go ahead and hit that bell icon too, because apparently YouTube thought there should be extra steps. Why not, right?
I'd like to subscribe, but first I have to click this and do this. Oh, it needs an email. All right, and this. Okay, fuck. Just tell me when he's uploading. Fuck!
Once you do all that, if you're lucky, at the stroke of midnight, a tiny little Averagebaters fairy might come and tickle your butthole. I hope to see you all again next time, and remember to keep on average baiting, baby.